Dream jobs don't exist. Yep, I've said it. The first few weeks or months may seem perfect, but inevitably there are going to be annoyances or worse that pop up. A project you don't want to work on, office politics, or that coworker who clips his toenails at his desk. Yeah, I'm looking at you, Chris. By the end of this video, you are going to have a guide that will help you to determine a role that is rewarding for you, even if it's not perfect. Number one is to determine what matters to you in a job, because what's important to you might not be important to me. And that's why it is so valuable to identify those before you start interviewing for roles or even looking for jobs. Now, I like to use the CCCR method, and I'm going to go over it in a very high level, but if you would like a more detailed explanation, I do have a link to a video in the description below. CCCR stands for control, compensation, culture, and role. And these are the main components that make up a job. Control is the how, where, and when of a position. Compensation is what your salary is, but also the total compensation package. Culture are the values and the beliefs that the company holds, but not just the company, also the department and the team that you're going to be working on. And finally is role. And these are the tasks that you are going to be doing day in and day out. I challenge you to write down your non-negotiables in each of these categories. When you do this, you're able to see what things are important to you in a position, and you're able to determine what positions you should apply for based on using those non-negotiables. And this is key, because if you are able to weed out the jobs that you're like, this isn't even going to work for me, before you apply and start going through the interviewing process, you are going to cut down, on a lot of frustration and time, but also you're just not going to be entertaining jobs that aren't rewarding in some capacity for yourself. And remember, what is important to you right now might not be important to you in a year or 5 years. So it's a constant checking in on yourself to see if the job that you have is aligning with what you want out of it. Second is finding a job that values you. And yes, this can be interpreted different ways. For some people, you're like, look, I am all about the money right now. I want to find a job that values me through compensation. And that's fine. Or you might look at it as, I don't necessarily care so much about receiving the top tier of the salary range, but I just want to feel as though my work is valued each and every day when I walk in, and I know that I am helping out the company or the mission or just my team. I want to feel that value. Bottom line, we all want to feel valued in some way, through a bigger paycheck, through recognition, through the warm fuzzies, whatever it is. Finding a position that values you in the way that you value is key. And speaking of value, if you're getting value out of this video, make sure to hit that like button. Number 3 is having the right mindset. This one is so underrated. So often we cede control of our emotions to outside factors, especially in jobs. If we have an annoying boss or we have to drive a long way to work, these things set us up and we're automatically in a negative mindset. Like, oh, I hate dealing with this person, or this drive is so long, or oh, I don't like this part of my job. But when you're able to switch your mindset and see the areas that this job benefits you, you are going to have a much more fulfilling and rewarding experience on the job. Here's an example. For years, I had a job at a nonprofit, and it was by no means a dream job, but it did allow me to pursue my dream, which was to go back to graduate school. Now, I needed a full-time job because I had to pay my way through school, but I needed one that was not going to have a lot of stress. It wasn't going to have a lot of time commitment out of the 9 to 5, and this role fulfilled that. On top of it, I received a lot of vacation time, which was critical to me being able to put in the time to study and to write papers. So while on the surface, I would have said, yeah, this is not a dream job, it was actually perfect for the years that I needed it in order to accomplish a goal outside of work. But ultimately, you have control over your mindset. So make sure that you are in the right mindset when it comes to your job. And number 4 is to separate your identity from your job. There is so much pressure to have your job be your calling or your passion, but reality, that's just not always the case. And that's okay. Sometimes your job is just simply that, a job. You clock in, you clock out, you get paid, you pay your bills, and then outside of work, you are doing what lights you up. Writing, acting, working out, crocheting, whatever it is, when you are able to pull those two things apart, what you do for a living and who you are, you relieve the pressure to have that 9 to 5 be so vitally important to who you are at the core of your being. And finally, I want to hit you with an HR pro tip. Instead of saying in an interview, oh my gosh, I'm so excited for this job, it's my dream job, that comes across as a bit naive and that you don't really understand that this could be a challenging role that's not all sunshine and roses. Instead, focus on alignment. You could say something like, I'm really excited to take on this role because it aligns with my fill in the blank, and then elaborate on that. That not only shows that you've done research on the company, but it also shows how you are able to fulfill a need that they have. And if you are interested in more career advice that should be busted, make sure to check out my video here.